Hey, Richie Bowhunting-Brace, continuing the series about terminology, bow terminology, things you should know when you buy your first bow. I covered the IBO speed and FPS, what that all means, and something else you should know is brace height and let off. So let's cover brace height. It's very important. Basically, what brace height is the measure of the bow grip to the bow string. That's your brace height, and what that actually is, it dictates the time the arrow stays on the string till the launch time. So why is that important? Why should you know that? Because there are certain things you should know about brace height. Alright? One, all your speed bows have a real low brace height. When I say low, I mean 6.5 and under. Those are usually your speed bows. The more forgiving bows, the easier to shoot bows, more forgiving bows have a higher brace height, like a 6 3/4, 7 inches. Why is that important? Well, that's important for the type of draw. Some of your speed bows, the lower brace heights, have a harsher draw, I feel personally. And one thing you should know about these low brace heights, it does happen, is that some of them with a real low brace height, you can get string slap. What that basically is, your wrist gets a little slack because you're so close, you're closer to the string basically. It's nothing really major to understand. But for your first bow, I would go with a higher brace height. Then if you really get into archery, you really enjoy hunting or 3Ds, then you can go with your speed, faster bows and stuff like that. But that's what you should know about brace height. What's important. Now let's get into let off. What is let off? You hear that 80% let off, 70% let off. What does that mean? Well, like say 80% let off, I should say, is the draw, your hold weight basically. So it's the percent of your draw weight that is subtracted at full draw, basically. So for example, if you have an 80% let off bow, you're really only holding at full draw 20% of the actual draw weight. So that's what that let off all means. People really get confused by let off. So when you're at full draw, if you have 80% let off at full draw, once you get past the cycle, the hump of the draw, you're actually holding at that point 20% of the weight. So that's why that's important to know. Now, me personally, I like higher let off. A lot of hunters like a high let off, 80-85%, because that you can hold longer at full draw. So if a deer is walking around or doing this or doing that, you can hold it longer and before you have to let off. And that's why some guys like me, I like a high let off, like 85%. Some of your really sweet shooting bows, like the elites, they have a nice let off, and that's what they're known for, to be hold that the easy let off to hold. So that's what you should understand about let off, what's important and what's critical about that. All right. So basically, if you have a 70-pound bow at 80% let off, when you're actually at full draw, you're actually only holding about 14 pounds of that draw weight. So that's why a lot of guys like some good let off. Now, one thing about let off also, the higher the let off, the slower the bow can be. So usually, if you have an 85% let off, if you go to 75%, the bow should be a little faster. So that's one thing you should understand about let off and brace height. All right. Again, my personal thing, I like about a 6 3/4, 7-inch brace height, and I actually like a higher let off. So that's Richie Bowhunting-Brace, just a little more bow terminology, things you should know when you buy your first bow. All right, that rhymes. Things you should know before you buy your first bow. So Richie Bowhunting-Brace, I hope this answers some questions. If you have any more questions, just write them in the comments. I always respond, and that's it. So I hope you understand. Hope you're getting this series. Simple terminologies you should know. A couple more vids on this subject, and that should cover pretty much basic terminology you should know when you buy your first bow. And that's it, guys. Richie Bowhunting-Brace, quick little video on brace height and let off, things you should know when you buy your first bow. Very important. IBO, FPS, and we'll get into some other things. And that's it. Take care, guys. Over and